The PDSA Order of Merit is known as the animal's OBE. It was created by the veterinary charity, the PDSA, to ensure that extraordinary animal contributions to society can be formally recognised and honoured. Well, one recipient of the Order of Merit is the 10-year-old Belgian, now I hope I'm pronouncing this properly because I don't know this breed, Malinois.
Malinois, correct.
Malinois,
Yep.
thank you. And his name is Hurricane. He's actually in here now, wearing his award. He stopped an intruder entering the White House back in 2014. I'm delighted to say Hurricane is here with his owner, Marshall Marachi. Welcome both.
Thank you very much. Super excited to be here.
So we can probably hear Hurricane. I'm so enthusiastic of Hurricane because first of all, I thought he was a German Shepherd. I have never met a Belgian Malinois.
Malinois, yep, you got it.
Are they quite a vulnerable breed?
So they are still in the German Shepherd family.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're just a little bit smaller, fur is a little bit thinner. Just depending on what kind of purpose you have the dog for. The Secret Service uses German Shepherds a lot for other stuff. For our apprehension and search canines, it's mostly Belgian Malinois.
So you were with the Secret Service?
Yes.
You're no longer with the Secret?
No longer.
And we'll talk about that later. When you went in, did you know you're going to be working with a dog? Did you choose to do that?
No, I've never had a dog growing up, never had a pet, never did anything like this before. So it was a huge culture shock. It ended up being life-changing for me. It was the best thing I ever did.
And so what do they say? They say you're now going to work with a dog and you take the dog home, or the dog stays with the Secret Service? I mean, how does that work?
No, the dog is with you 24/7. If you join Special Operations, after about 2 years, they start to kind of push for you to have a dog. Once you get all the SWAT stuff down, all the tactics down, they try and incorporate a dog with each guy too. So I was hesitant because I've never even had a dog, and I saw the level of skill and training, and I thought, that's not.
And when you got him, was he trained, or do you train them?
So that's actually a funny story. They usually don't have any training. We get them from Europe with little to no training. I matched up with him the first day because I've never seen an all-black one.
Yeah.
We only had brown and gold ones. I walked in the kennel. Every dog is barking and growling at you. He was the only one and just stopped and stared at me. So me not having a dog before and being a little hesitant to open a cage with a barking dog, which I don't know how the rapport works, I just thought, well, this one's not barking at me. This is the one I'm going with. And being all black, I saw one that was different than all the other ones. So it just stood out to me. We hit it off immediately. They've been together ever since.
And so how old was he when you got him as a puppy?
He was 3.
He was 3. So you've been with him, you've worked together for 7 years.
Yes.
You were working together for 7 years. So you were part of his training?
Yes.
As well. So what were his duties when you two were together?
So his main duty is to protect the White House and the First Family.
Oh my God. I can't believe you're here.
Yeah, it's an average day is just sitting, pulling up to the White House at the north door, the south door.
Now, I have to
just
interrupt
hanging out.
because one of the things that we did on my Barking Hour show was we celebrated Obama because he got a dog into the White House almost immediately, and I've forgotten the dog's name. It's
Bo.
Bo, that's
Yes.
right. So he got
Bo and Sonny.
So what? They've got 2.
They got a second one later.
We didn't know that.
Oh,
How did
okay.
we not know that? So does Hurricane know Bo?
Yeah, so we keep...
We're in the presence of something mighty. So, because was Bo a Labradoodle? Hypoallergenic?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for us because these dogs are, although they're friendly, they're still, naturally trained to do bite and apprehension work. So you have to be extremely careful. You don't want to have the dog who put the present stuff. That wouldn't be very good for your career.
So, would he meet Bo only when they've let their dog out?
They would see each other when the president brings their dogs. We always track where their dogs are at, so it's never a surprise.
So
So when
exciting.
Bo comes out, he has the grounds to himself.
Does he?
And we take a separate security posture. We don't want them to interfere. That is his house. So to
Yeah,
be
of course,
fair,
of course.
when he wants to use the backyard, we take a step. to
So
the side.
your duty. So what? I don't even know if you're allowed to tell us this. So you would parade. You would what? You would do a round of the White House every so often with Hurricane. How did it work?
Exactly. We just do patrols. Normally position in a certain area, and then all shift and rotate, and then just do sweeps around the White House with the dog.
So what happened on the occasion when someone was in the White House?
So the prior incident, that's one thing that's, it's hard to get into, and it's super complicated on what happened that day. Just a lot going on. I don't want to get too much into that. It's kind of one of those things that happen, and from there we just do everything we can to fix it and make sure it never happens again. And obviously this happened a few weeks later, and everything went.
So you're not going to say a great deal about it because you mustn't really give too many details. Is
Something
that right?
like that.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. But what he did, he caught, and I can give these details.
Yes.
That the person he apprehended was incredibly cruel to Hurricane.
Incredibly cruel.
I mean, really vile.
It was very violent. It was very.
And did you see
violent.
that?
Yes, I had to watch the whole thing.
God.
That's why I said it's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Okay, so don't talk about it. But he apprehended them.
Yes, I mean he did his job. I have no problem talking about it because he succeeded in what he needed to do. It was like a proud father moment. I knew when it was going on. Part of me thought, should I go in there, stop it? And people asked me why I didn't. And it's like having a boxer or anybody else. They don't want to be stopped in the middle of a fight. That's what he spent his whole career doing. Since the day I got him, training him.
God.
He's obviously in a situation that's not normal. When somebody's not responding to pain for whichever reason, essentially you had a 200-pound man fighting a 68-pound dog at the time. So it just turned into a wrestling match, and he just has so much heart. I knew that he would succeed, that he would never forgive me if I pulled him out of there before he got to do his job. And eventually, he kept, the guy would punch him in the head and he would let go and bite him in the leg. And the guy would stomp on him with his other foot and he would run around and bite him in the back. And it was very tough to watch, but by the end of it, Hurricane had him pushed all the way back up to the fence and allowed our team to safely go in there and handcuff the suspect. And, he doesn't know he's protecting the White House. He doesn't know he's doing that for me. And he was willing to lay it all on the line that day. Every time I look at him now, that's what I think about. This dog was willing to die for me, to protect me, not the White House. He doesn't know what the PDSA Order of Merit is. He doesn't know all these great things he's did. He knows I protected Dad. And when I brought him back to the van, it was dark, so I couldn't see at the time, but I saw how cut up and how bloody he was, and I thought he would be showing signs of being hurt or being upset, and he was just looking at me with that same face that he always does, with his tail wagging, like, Dad, did I do a good job? It was an amazing moment that we had together, and it's forever changed our relationship. So, and now here we are.
And he's the first non-English dog to get this award,
yes,
isn't he?
Just if there wasn't anything else to make this whole thing that the PDSA has put on for us more special, he's the first American dog to receive this award. So
and he's wearing the award. Sorry, I'm so emotional because what is he doing under there with that Kong?
He's playing with this Kong.
He's got a Kong, which Anna Webb is always. Anna does the barking out with me. She's always saying, "Give a dog a Kong because they can't destroy them, even with titanium teeth," which we're going to talk about in a moment. But the award is made out of the same silver, is that right, as Meghan Markle's?
It's the same jeweler that just did her ring. So it's
don't
an amazing.
You love the Brits for that reason.
You have to. I've never seen anything like this before.
I just think
it's the most beautiful award I've ever seen. It's amazing.
Doesn't it give you faith in humanity? You just think, that people's priorities are like that.
And it's for now being an animal lover, which I turned into be. Charities like the PDSA, like who does things like
this? Amazing.
It's to see that type of give back. I got to go to the hospital for the first time. I've been reading about them for a year because this has been going on to try and get us over here for a year. Just reading about what an unbelievable organization they are. I finally yesterday got to go and see firsthand what they do, and I see you're emotional right now. If you were there yesterday, it was just as bad. It really grabs at your heartstrings when you see what these people and what this organization does for animals for free.
For free. Yeah, and long may it continue. When he came in, the intelligence of this dog, because we have dogs come in and out of here who just come in and sit. You know, he was literally sussing out. In 8 seconds, he'd sussed out this studio. You could just see it.
Oh, yeah. This is another room that he has to clear and check out. No different than if he's working.
He literally had cleared it, even with a Kong in his mouth. He'd just checked it. Didn't really give me a great deal of attention until he'd just seen what was under the desk, above the desk, and everything else. He's never... I know he's no longer working, but it's in him, isn't it?
He does not know he's no longer working, and you can't try and stop him. The more I try and fight it or have him calm down, the more he wants to work. So just like you saw, he'll come in, he'll check this whole room out, and then once he's comfortable, he'll come lay at your feet and roll over and give you his belly. But that has to be done first.
He has titanium teeth. Now, I said when he came in, I went, how have you managed to keep your dog's teeth? And then I realised they are not real teeth. They're titanium, because my dog's 11 and she's lost nearly all her teeth. So how did you... I mean, that must have cost a fortune, or did the Secret Service do the dental work?
They paid for it. I don't know how happy they were with me. So I don't know if I'd say it's my fault, but it was a learning experience. The first time I flew with him, I had to put him underneath the belly of the plane in the cabin. Well, he gets very bad separation anxiety from me. He's always trying to get back to me. So by injuring himself, he actually tried to eat his way out of an all-metal cage, and he broke all of his teeth off, and technically wouldn't have been able to work unless they were fixed. So, you know, I guess the Secret Service would put a decision: do we have all this work done, or do we retire him early? And he was such an amazing work dog that within seconds they were like, no, we can't lose Hurricane. You know, do what you have to do, and send us the bill after, and
I can't
hopefully
even begin.
It's not...
I mean, I've got implants, and I know how much that cost. I've never seen... We've done so many subjects on dogs over, 10 years here on the BBC. I have never done a subject on dogs' dental implants. I know of no other dog that's had this done.
So that was my one condition coming over here, and that's why it took so long. This incident was 5 years ago. This award has been in the making for over a year. We couldn't find an airline that would allow him to fly up top in the cabin. So British Airways reached out to us. He had his own first-class personal seat. It was, again, you want to talk about these organizations that do these things. When somebody does something for you, it's nice. When they do it for your dog,
I know,
it's just that much more special. They sent an entire team from London, from Heathrow, flew to D.C., got a limousine, picked Hurricane up at my front door. He took off and ran into the limousine, jumped right up and jumped into the back seat. They brought us to the airport, and they flew him first class the whole way. And when we leave tomorrow, they're flying him first class.
Wow.
He actually had a seat. I thought he was going to be on the floor next to me. He's had his own seat that folded down into a bed.
What are the other passengers? I'd love to get on a plane with
we did. It turned into a 6-hour photo shoot. So we took the red eye. I was like, I could probably get an hour or two sleep.
No,
not awake.
Autographs.
And I couldn't. People were super excited. The crew, the staff were amazing, and I didn't want to take that opportunity away from everyone, so I stayed up the entire flight.
Marshall,
and did that.
You no longer work for the Secret Service.
No.
Now, when he retired,
yes,
and do they have to retire at a certain age, dogs?
Yes. So I don't know if it was from the incident where he took all that abuse and all that violence, but shortly after, his hip started to go real bad with walking, and at one point he couldn't jump anymore. We have to certify every single month because, you know, we're on the north grounds of the White House. You know, there's all the president there, their families there, the staff is there. Your dog has to perform at such a high level, so they have to certify every month. He was no longer to make the jumps. You know, I was really mad, and I had a lot of resentment at first after thinking that he had to retire so early because of what he went through. It ended up being a blessing in disguise because now he's had all these years to be a dog. A lot of other dogs, just the nature of the way it is, they work their whole life. They're bred to be a working dog. They work their whole life, and they pass away, while they're still working. So they never, and they don't know any different. So it's not, not to feel bad for them because they only know one life, but to see him now be able to be a dog, to jump up on the couch, to be able to give him treats that I wasn't allowed to. I didn't even pet him much while he was working because you keep them in that, state of mind, that they're a working dog.
Yeah. They have to earn their reward.
Now I can treat him like, my best friend, which he always was, but I just had to you have to keep it, a little bit more professional.
Is it true, Marshall, that you attempted to work with another dog and you just felt a traitor towards Hurricane?
So I tried it thinking that I could give him a friend, knowing that he'd be home alone now. He's, we're at work 12 hours a day. You're gone 14 hours or more almost every day of the week, especially with Secret Service, a campaign year. It's nonstop. So he's with me all the time working. Leaving him at home, because I had to still work, so leaving him at home was just super hard, and I felt super bad. So they asked me to go through and get another dog, and so I did, thinking I'll bring Hurricane home a friend.
Yeah.
And that did not work out. He did not want someone else in his house, and it's funny, they're like people. When you saw the jealousy from him, and this is, at this point, he's an old man, and he's, about 70 pounds. This is a big 1-year-old, 100-pound German Shepherd, half Shepherd, half Mal I got the second time, who would have destroyed Hurricane, but was super nice to him. And Hurricane just went after him every single time. Even though that dog was twice his size, he didn't want him in the house. So I kept trying. I gave it a little bit of time, and eventually I felt like I was cheating on my dog when I would leave the house. I used to have to sneak out the back door, which is what someone would do if they were sneaking out, because I couldn't take him seeing me leave. Because, they know. He knows when I put on jeans and a T-shirt or if I put on my work clothes.
Yeah,
they know.
I bet he does.
If I grab my work bag, he's jumping up at the door, clawing at it. If I put on regular clothes to go out to the store, he doesn't even lift his head up. He just opens, one eye when he's laying in his little dog bed, looks up, and he knows the difference. So I couldn't do it anymore, so I figured I'll take a break for a while, and now I get to do these.
So you've literally given up your job as well. I mean, look how happy you are. What is he doing at the moment?
Oh, I mean, look at him. How could I? I couldn't. He's so good, isn't he?
But he's looking out. If you see, he's looking at the team and everything, so he's facing out, so he can still see whatever is happening outside.
Yeah. So he always, obviously, where the door is,
exactly,
that's what
facing
he'll
the
face,
door.
because if somebody comes in the door, he has to be the first one there.
My British Bulldog, honestly, Marshall, is like, she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and to watch an intelligent dog like this is extraordinary. This is an email that's just come through. Loads of people. Oh, everyone's crying. So this is from Joanne, who says, I'm in tears. BA have now gone right up in my estimation, British Airways.
Yeah.
Utterly brilliant. What an amazing dog, and what an extraordinary owner. This is from Kevin. Joe, this is Kevin. I'm in tears listening to this. What an amazing dog, Hurricane. As you know, I don't even like dogs, but what a great what a great guy. And please tell him I hope they both have a peaceful and happy retirement. Him and Hurricane. Big love to you guys, says Kev in East London. This is from Margaret. Oh my goodness, I'm choked up about this beautiful dog, Hurricane, and his handler. You are right, Joe. It gives us hope for humanity. Thank heavens for British Airways. I don't think we've ever gone on so much about British Airways. And she says, what a lovely story. So what happens now then? You fly back tomorrow.
So, we'll see. This has sparked so much stuff. It happened 5 years ago, but at the time I was still working for the Secret Service full time. I can't do things like these, so I wasn't able to. Now that I have a lot more free time that I can do these things with him, just every single thing sparks something else. Being on your show right now and telling that story, that will spark something else. So I'm just taking it all in.
I don't know if have you seen anything that's been written about you today?
Some things.
Yeah, I think you've become a huge hit in this country. Hurricane has, but you just as much, Marshall. That's all I can say. So I reckon you'll probably get Panto at the Palladium, the two of you. I would certainly think there's loads of offers that are going to be out there for you. All I can say is that dog, who is now nearly 11, is in such great condition. So can I ask you this? Do you feed him raw, dried? What do you feed him?
Dry, because so many teeth have been missing that he still has a lot of gum exposure. 1 meal a day
or 2 meals a day?
He will only eat once a day. I've tried to do 2 because I prefer that, but he's so, you see how he can't focus when he comes in here?
Yeah,
that's what it's like when I try and feed him. So I have to wait to the end of the day when he's completely exhausted and tired out, because during the day he just won't eat.
Did the president love him?
So there's another funny story, but 2 times we were supposed to actually meet and meet the president, and both times the president was super busy, you know, just like now, obviously no different than your news here. It's something every minute. He was not able to go and officially meet the president as we set up, and President Obama soon left office. But I've been saying in all my interviews, now that Hurricane's retired, we have plenty of time. If President Obama's listening, Hurricane would still love to meet him. I know the president has a lot more free time now than he used to, being retired also. So we're holding out hope. We think it might happen.
Something makes me think it's probably going to happen now,
I think
don't
it
you?
might happen.
Because if they only have to Google your name and it will put in White House and it's literally everywhere. He is amazing. And I'm just looking at him now. What's he doing now?
He's
he's
still
Kong.
with the Kong.
I mean, the Kongs. Sorry, this isn't an advertisement. But if you, one of my contributors, Anna Webb, who comes in to talk about dogs on a Thursday, she always promotes the Kong. Nothing to do with the brand. She just says they're the strongest toy that you can, because, you know, dog toys are destructible usually. They last 5 minutes. This dog's got titanium teeth, and has been chewing on that Kong, and it's still bouncing back, isn't it?
Yeah. And we've had some Kongs for a few years.
Really?
So, yeah, again, I'm not advertising for
No.
It's just the
but
one.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying
toy.
to you is doors are going to open for you, Marshall. I can just see it. Listen, thank you so much for coming in. Can we actually have a photograph with you as well?
Oh, of course.
This is from Peggy. Oh my goodness, I was trying to leave the house and I can't. What an amazing story. What an inspiration. Hurricane, but also his handler, an amazing pair of guys. There you go. This is, this is from, right, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. This is from someone who works for that airline company who listens to me all the time. I'm not going to give the name out because he's a massive dog lover and he always says, don't say who I work for. So I will say he works for BA, but I'm not going to give his name out. He says, did you know that Hurricane's on the front page of our company news? It makes me so proud now. Wish all my first class passengers were dogs. Wouldn't that just be wonderful?
That's terrific.
You know, you turn left and it's all dogs.
Right, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for coming in. So there we go then. That is Marshall Marashi and his dog Hurricane. And I'd love to know if anyone listening to me has ever had a Belgian Malinois, because I have never heard of one. I've never seen one at Crufts, never seen one at Discover Dogs. They are a type of German Shepherd. And I mean, German Shepherds do get hip problems. That is one of the things. So we will never know, will we, whether what caused that. But the nice thing is he's not having to work hard anymore. Although, as we've just said, he hasn't really stopped working, even in here. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wow.